Hey there, it's Stephanie from Janku. Today I'm going to show you how to use the text tool in Inkscape. So I'm going to go over here to the Edit Text Objects tool. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go to File, Document Properties, and I'm going to remove the Show Border, Page Border check mark. So we just have a clear canvas to work with. So let's go back to the text editor. I'm going to click and drag, and it's going to create a text box. So this is the boundary in which all the text will fit. We can always expand it. If you notice this little diamond here, when you click and drag this will expand the rectangle to include more text. But let's work with the text first. So you'll notice that this little cursor is blinking, and that just indicates, it shows where the cursor is, where you're going to start typing the text. So yes, or hello world. Now let's say we want to increase the size of this text. If we double click, we can go over to the menu and we can select from preset font sizes. If you don't want any of these, you can always go into this little rectangle and type the font size you want. So I'm going to type 200. And because Hello World in 200 type font was too big for the length of this rectangle, it wrapped around. If you want that to straighten out again, just expand by clicking and dragging that over. So that's how you fix the size. Now with the font itself, you can always go to the Select Font Family drop down, and you'll have a variety of different things to choose from. What I like to do is I like to click, drag, and hold and highlight the current font selected, and then with the keyboard down key, I like to press down, and that will allow me to see the actual font in the window with the word I'm using. Every font has its own styles, and you'll notice which styles it has by going over to this third window, which is font style, and you can click down. There'll be light, normal, medium, just kind of like your word processor. It's built the same way. And then of course there's these align center, align left. That's according to within this rectangle. So it's not going to be aligning left to a certain object on the page. It's to within this window. Now make sure, if you ever get out of the text editor and you're just using the regular select tool, it's going to treat the font as an object. So it's only going to allow you to move it around. You can click Control and you can expand the word. You can make the word larger doing that. But typically, if you want to keep the integrity of the font, make sure to only be in the text editor. You don't want to be playing around with it as an object, because you won't be able to edit and use these menu options later. So these two options here are if you want to create text that is a superscript or subscript. I'm just going to write 2, and it's going to be hello world squared. So I'm going to just highlight the 2, and I'm going to select that, and you'll see that it made it the 2 small and higher up. All right, let's go back. The next thing here, this is concerning kerning, spacing between the lines. So right here, if this was, let's create an example of this. I'll hit return or enter, and I'll type the second line. If I go and highlight this and I increase the spacing between, if we go over to the next one, this is the spacing between each letter. So what it's doing is, for instance, between the O and the R, it's creating more distance, and you can obviously go in the negatives and it would create less distance. The next one is the spacing between words. So this second one is between letters, but this one is between the spacing between each word. So again, going negative would decrease the amount of space as opposed to increasing it with the positive increase. So you'll see this is a bit funky here. Make sure that when you're changing these different variables, pay attention to what you've selected, because even though all of this text is contained within the window, if you select certain letters and use these different functions, it will only apply to what you've selected, which in this case is hell. Oh boy. So let's move on. So going over here to the next window, it's not currently highlighted, but this would be the horizontal kerning, the vertical shift, and rotation. So you can do all sorts of manipulation, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I just wanted to cover a very basic overview. So feel free to leave questions down below in the comments. I'd be happy to take a look and answer any questions you may have. I post these videos on Inkscape every Wednesday, so feel free to tune in every Wednesday for different tips and tricks. And of course, I welcome those who have their own ways of doing things on Inkscape and would love to see your tutorials or comments